So we've looked at R2000s before, and I like them. I think they're a really nice receiver. This one has got a VFO problem, and look, I've already started adjusting it. So I must tell you, initially it did nothing. The VFO went nothing, went nowhere, went nothing. There's good English. As you can see here, we're not sort of getting, as I'm turning it here, we're not getting what we want. That should be a lot more linear. But basically what was happening before, if I put the frequency lock on, I was getting this when it arrived. Turn, nothing. All right, unfortunately I had to have a play before I pulled out my little video apparatus. And if you remember, recently we had a look at a Kenwood, what was it, 430? 430, yeah. I think the 430. Anyway, I'm pretty sure there was a video recently, and we had a similar issue with the VFO that was giving us massive problems. And the R2000 Kenwood receiver, this will sort of give you some memories. Now, what I might do is I might actually just pull this fella out that because I know exactly how we're going to fix this in a minute. Whoops, put the light back on again, and we'll just see if we can show you underneath. Let's turn it off before we blow it up. That would be the power switch, not the volume. And I'm actually just running it off DC at the moment, so I can't do too much harm to myself. But in behind here, I don't know if we can get enough light in there. Oh, gee whiz. Maybe. Hang about. We need to be able to show you what's behind all this, because... yeah, that light's going to give us a lot of trouble too, but you just have to take my word for it. In behind there, there is a VFO. Actually, we'll see it better from the top, I reckon. So let's just go back to the other way. We'll come in this way. Ah, yes, I think we will. All right, so let's get some light in there. And let's have a little bit of a look here. And I don't know if you'll see the disc in there, unfortunately. No. Not much as I'm just trying to get more and more light down there, and I'm not succeeding in... I mean, you can see that spinning, but what you can't see is that disc, which has got all its little serrations in it, its little holes in it everywhere, where it refracts light with the those little photo transistors. Now let me get this back into place. Now once again, we're going to try and stretch your imagination a bit, and with a bit of light. See the blue down there? Two little blue adjustments. One to the left, one to the right. Now normally you've got to pull this VFO out, and you have to basically, let me get my head in there, set these up with the crow. Now, you know the problem with not having enough hands, well that's certainly today's problem. Let me just get set up a bit here. Okay, now I need an extra set of hands to do what I'd like to do, but you need to imagine that, well, let's do it in stages. Let's knock it back a bit so it's out of calibration. Let's see what it does. See how it's very erratic on its 10 hertz line. So we bring that around a bit. Now I'm really doing this by touch here, because it's much easier to have two hands. Now, we should be going up there quite nicely. Now, let's go to slow, and we now should get it into 1 hertz. Yep. So we're in the correct position there. So we're now getting 1 hertz, 5 hertz, which we were getting obviously nothing before. And of course, that'll go to 5 kilohertz, so you can quickly whip your way up and down the band. This one needs a good cleanup, but I'll tell you what, it'll come up well. So, from a non-working VFO, and just to sort of give you a bit of a hint, with those two little blue adjustments that I showed you, generally I've found with these, the one to the left, you'll just tweak it a tad. Now you move that clockwise, and I've done a few of these, so you just have to trust my, how to do it without a crow. and get these VFOs working again. So the one on the left, I want you to just touch that clockwise like a millimetre. The other one then becomes, and what that'll do, you'll start to get some very erratic movement. The moment you've got erratic movement, you want to stop and go to the other one. And you might say, well, what bloody science are you using to do that? And I can tell you, it's just practice. But when you go to the second one, you've got a fair bit of swing, as you saw before. And once you've got it in place, you've got it locked. And quite seriously, you can pretty much even go a little bit further. So let's say you suddenly get your 1 kilohertz and your 5 kilohertz working correctly. You can actually go a tad clockwise further, just a tad. Now, obviously, these adjustments can differ, but I've done probably 3 of these in my lifetime now, and every one of them has been exactly the same. The first one I set up with a Crow, and I had to pull it into 1 million pieces, and I did, and you know what, after I did all that, I didn't really have the motor set up to run the VFO to set that light system up correctly. So I ended up sort of dodging it anyway, like we're doing right now. But let me say that, look, I've got one I've done that actually is one of Rob's VK2QRs. And when they sit for a while, by the way, this is not a blame Rob. I've had a couple of radios of Rob's which have sat here for 4 or 5 years, and I haven't touched them, and then bought them in, and of course just sitting, different problems can happen on these old radios. So I suppose that's the other lesson too, is that if you're interested in old stuff, be prepared for the fact that not every day will it do exactly what you want it to do, and you might have to learn a bit about how to keep it all running. But with the R2000s, they've always been a very quick adjustment, and you're back up and running. Now let's see if we can actually hear someone. I'll put an antenna on it. Okay, so I'm on a 10-meter antenna, which that's changing soon, guys. We've got these 2 new little towers up just to run a few antennas into here. A couple of guys from the US sitting there on 7138.1, or give or take a little bit based on this thing's accuracy warming up, I'm sure. Attenuator works. You can actually put all memories into these things, so which is all nice. You can do a program scan. What else? Oh, dimmer. Oh, that's a bit brighter, isn't it? You know what? I was thinking earlier that display could be a bit brighter. Yeah, well, that'll do it. AGC fast, etc. Band up, down. My goodness, that's not bad really for the wrong antenna. I didn't think we'd hear anything, but these also had a clock, so that went to a clock 1 and clock 2, so you could have local UTC. You could have it set so that it turns on and off with the timer that's over here. So look, they weren't a bad radio.
Exactly what I did just now, because I had stuff on the desk and I hit the doggone mouse. It jumped all over the place.
Not getting any S reading off these guys yet. Unfortunately, better antenna would probably be good. See if there's anything stronger around.
But I don't know if Ray's there. I think Russell was there earlier, but I think he might have gone now. Anyway,
let's just have a little look. I'm a little bit concerned that I would have thought, oh no, the meter's just starting to move. I'll need to put a analyzer. I'll chuck the analyzer on it after, and I just want to check that that meter is S9 for 50 microvolts. At the moment, it's not a good judge on the wrong antenna. Sometimes it can be a bad idea. Let's have a look. Always listen to FT8, I suppose, somewhere down there. Not much happening there either. Cheers. But look, great little receiver, these things, and as you can see, that VFO's not playing games anymore.
Okay, fine, good. Yeah, we just have this thing every afternoon.
Just like to see that meter moving a bit more, to be honest. So we might just have a quick look. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so I've got 0.5 of a microvolt in there. It's hearing that, so that's good. What we really want to know, does the meter move when we put in extra microvolts? Yes, it does. And we may adjust that just a little bit, to be honest. I reckon it's being a little bit lazy at the moment. It's certainly hearing down into the noise beautifully, as we can see, demonstrating that we can hear it at 0.5 of a microvolt. And even that, we might just give a little bit of an adjustment. I reckon that could be just a tad. Oh, look, it's noise free. It's okay, but you know that I've heard better, but it's sort of fine. So I'm being a little bit pedantic. Just check that attenuator's definitely clicking in and out. Yeah, it is. All right, narrow wide shouldn't affect. That'll affect AM, I'd say. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so definitely. Okay, so I reckon we're going to need to. Oops. We're just going to whip that meter up a little bit, and I'll be extremely happy. Let's go back to antenna again. I thought it's worth mentioning before I go to antenna. On the bottom side of the radio, S meter adjustment is this fella right here. So 1, 2, 3. Now, you can get some adjustment out of this, but don't. There's some reasons for that I'll go into in one day when I've got more time. But yes, this one here, number 3, for 50 microvolts is S9, just a little bit over. I'll just knock that back in a second, but yeah. Okay, now let's go to antenna. Okay, now we're on the wrong antenna, but as you can see, these guys who probably are really an S3 are sort of just picking up to that S3 now. Unfortunately, there's not much happening anywhere else. I checked some other bands thinking, oh, maybe I can get smart and find something else, but there wasn't really a lot able to be heard on this 10 meter antenna. But it's definitely hearing very nice now, and with a nice solid signal. Let's go to commercial. Even on the wrong antenna. See how we're starting to see S meter movement now, where before it was just a little bit average and needed to be peaked up a bit. And a lot of these little adjustments are just time. That's probably getting a bit loud on the video. It's just time that it's been sitting around and, you know, etc., etc. But as you can see, for the wrong antenna, it's reasonably good on quite a few bands here. Now remember, you can go back down on. Now 3 megs, we're not going to hear much. Not on this antenna. That is, yeah, I can. I was pretty sure that was going to be a dead loss. 14 maybe. Let's go back down a bit. Yeah, look, once we get some new antennas into this workshop area, and we've got quite a array of different ones. I've even got this really nice one I got off Rob, VK2QR. It's come over from Spain, I think, from memory. You have to correct me on that, Rob. You can put some notes in the YouTube notes file. It's a big hex beam that even has the tilt plate for, you know, when you lower it and everything, if you're going to lower it on the side plate. Now I can lower it sort of on that particular, we're just going to chuck that on the NBS tower, so I can sort of bring that down. But sometimes, yes, it does help to be able to bring the thing down on its side, because it then will be on the ground just about, well, not quite, but getting closer to the ground, and the tilt plate will actually bring the hex beam into a more horizontal fashion versus having to, you know, keep spinning it. So yeah, there's definitely some better antennas coming to make a bit more noise in this part. I mean, when we go next door into the other room there, there's plenty of antennas. By the way, look at that. Floor space. We're getting floor space. Need to get the vacuum cleaner though. Anyway, now we'll go back to slow there. See if any of the boys in Queensland. Not very strong on this antenna, but hearing them at all is actually amazing when you think about it. It's isn't it great, these old receivers? Seriously. This came from a mate of mine in Adelaide. We bought it not going, and I had a fair idea what might be wrong with it. Actually, there's something else coming over from Adelaide from the same person that is going to make you absolutely go, oh my God, where did you get that? And just wait for that video. That's I reckon it might arrive tomorrow. It left the same day. Unfortunately, this one arrived first, but that's okay. I can hang in there. But I'll give you a bit of a hint. It's a very rare radio that was made in California, and the company got bought out by Swan. So that'll give you something to work with. It's quite an interesting radio. So we're going to love giving that a bit of a play. All right, this is the R2000. I suppose we call this how to adjust and fix a VFO that's not functioning, but also a bit of a look at just how they work when they are functioning, and you've got it all up and running.
Where are you again, sorry?
Unfortunately, we're not hearing everybody there, but I heard Mick in there, VK4CMW, very good mate of mine just before, and
Yeah, Durrell. Okay, no worries.
but I don't think he's going to come back up. All right, 73s from VK3CM, JDW229. Thanks for having a look at this. It's always a bit of fun when I get a day that I'm firing on a few cylinders versus less, and it has been a better day, so count my blessings on that one. 73s, guys, all the best. Please subscribe, and thanks very much for all the comments. Cheers.